Welcome to Viral Twist. One driver, one freeway, and zero patient. Thought he could outdrive the cops. Turns out, not so much. Let's see how that worked out.
But it looks like that's that gray sedan. And Jasmine, I don't know if you see it too, but on the back left side underneath the brake light, it looks like it has some minor damage on the vehicle as well. But just keeping an eye on this right now on the 10. Car going 90 plus miles an hour, right around that mark. So incredibly fast right now in traffic.
Yeah, so this was a pursuit that started with the LA County Sheriff's Department of this reckless driver. And now the desk is telling me CHP has taken over the chase because it is on the freeway now on the 10 going westbound, still through the East San Gabriel Valley. But you said, Gio, very high speeds, and now over 100 miles per hour. And again, this started with the reckless driver, a possible DUI. So who knows how this all happened, if, they just started chasing him or, where exactly they spotted him, I guess, and then handed it off to CHP.
And especially the dynamic obviously becomes that much more dangerous in any situation given a reckless driver, but add in the possibility of suspected DUI as well, and having that impairment just makes you worry even more about what's going on. Normally when we're keeping an eye on these pursuits and it's on the freeway here, you have a little bit more space to operate. Obviously, there's a lot of traffic, it being a Saturday night, and you have those speeds of close to 90, 100 miles an hour. The hope is that they're going to get it under control because right now there is no... The overhead chopper is right on top of it. Yeah. That spotlight is right over that vehicle. They're not going anywhere. They're not going to lose sight of this suspect right now. It's just I'm thinking about when they're typically on those surface streets, right? If they get off on an exit, then you become that much more concerned about hitting people or getting in these tight corners with lights and everything else.
And on a Saturday night, I mean, there is a lot of traffic out there. Even at this hour, just past 9 o'clock. This started just a short time ago, so they are following very closely. And not sure if some of the damage that we noticed is from maybe an attempted maneuver to bring this to a halt, or if this is just somehow related to his reckless driving before we got overhead with SkyCal.
Looks like it jumped. The suspect there jumped on the 605. So. There was a moment briefly after getting off of that exit there to the 605 where there was a congestion, at least a little bit of it, where things slowed down quite a bit. But this driver just taking every opportunity to find the closest exit and just keep it going. But you see CHP directly, like right behind, at least one unit directly behind the suspect's vehicle, and at least a few more behind. But
and we'll see if they're going to attempt something here. He is
that's what I was thinking.
Flying past cars on the side of the freeway there on the 605 northbound. And this CHP officer is making maneuvers of his own.
Right.
To the left,
It's
going around those cars.
It's always concerning, obviously, because sometimes they trail back into tracking mode. This certainly doesn't seem like it's that scenario.
Right.
I mean, it is a hot tail pursuit with at least this one cruiser directly behind, now on the shoulder here. So it's really scary because even just a weekend or 2 weekends ago, we're covering these crashes and other deadly incidents where you have vehicles off of the edge of a freeway, off an exit ramp, anything like that,
and over.
Right, or another one where I'm remembering on surface streets backed into the back of a car that was just stopped at a red light. Any situation, any variable could be disastrous for any number of people, not just those CHP officers in pursuit of, obviously not just for the driver in that vehicle, but anybody else who's on the street at this point. That's what makes it really scary.
And dark, given the visibility out there. I mean, they have the spotlight from their own police chopper overhead, but not knowing what's coming up behind you and at such speeds. Look, now nearing 100 miles per hour again before dropping back down and slowing down as he meets some of the congestion and the other drivers on the 605. But we'll see what CHP is going to attempt to do here, taking over from the LA County Sheriff's Department, where this had started. And I think they had said at one point in West Covina, and again, not exactly sure what had happened prior to tip them off, or if they just noticed, obviously the sheriff's patrolling the area there in West Covina.
Yeah,
so
and
jumping
you see
on the freeway.
The cruiser here for a moment there, it looked like it was almost parallel with with the driver. I'm thinking back to all the other times we obviously break in, pardon me, on pursuits and talking with LAPD and CHP, but you almost
he's getting close
right there, directly next to it.
It's giving him orders to pull over.
You'd have to assume, right?
Right.
I'm thinking of those other examples where you're caught in these situations. At least they're slowing down, right? You notice a 45, close to 50 miles an hour So certainly much better than the 90 close
Boxing
to
him in.
100, right?
Right.
It looks like SkyCal trying to maintain its connection there, but this is at least somewhat of a good sign. But what I was going to bring up was that when I'm basing off of all these conversations that we have with law enforcement, you know, if you're caught on the surface streets, right, you get a lot of going in circles, right, because they're familiar with the areas.
Right.
But then when you're stuck on the freeway, the alternate is this could go on for a long amount of time, right? Because you have just this stretch, right?
Right.
You can start on the 10, you can get to the 605 and just get anywhere else because there's so much traffic to cover, and you can just maintain these speeds for a while, and then just like that, we're back up to 90 miles an hour right now.
Oh, Jasmine Geo. Yeah, this guy, I tell you what, I've been watching this thing, and it's been some strange activities. It shows you the difference between the taxis from LAPD and CHP. LAPD would not ever pull up next to the pursuing vehicle, the vehicle that they're pursuing. As far as
just now jumping onto East Central. David, you did say the tactics. I was waiting for, I mean, would they do a pit maneuver at any point? Now that it's surface streets, it's more dangerous.
Yeah, you know, I haven't seen them do a pit maneuver unless it's really empty, and I think what you had mentioned that there wasn't that many vehicles on the freeway. But once CHP gets okay from their supervisor, they'll go ahead and they'll pit the suspect vehicle, and it looks like they're on a side street, so you know, we may see that coming up.
And you have to wonder, David, here because we've talked about this a number of times before, and I was even referencing previous conversations we've had. I'm curious if you share the thought here, where now that you're on surface streets, a lot of the times we see these scenarios where they're trying to get to a place where they're comfortable, and now it starts turning into this sort of merry-go-round where thankfully you've slowed down, but now you've added all these variables from stoplights and street signs and pedestrians walking on sidewalks. You have homes on top of it as well. It just adds a lot more chaos to what is already a chaotic situation.
Absolutely, Jill, and that's what we were talking about earlier. You know, that's one thing you have to worry about. Luckily, I haven't seen that many vehicles. I'm not sure why, but thank God there's not that many out there. Mm-hmm. You know, we look, you know, cross traffic. Earlier, we seen what happened when a suspect slammed into a side of a vehicle. It's in that car it turned upside down. But on this one here, yeah, it seems like we slowed down. So I don't know if this suspect, it appears like they know where they're going or they're talking to somebody. But, yeah, we may see a pursuit. I mean, we may see a pit maneuver, but it all depends on the watch commander on what they want to do. If they figure that it's kind of like a slow, I say he, but it could be a female also. We don't know.
Yeah. And they're entering Monrovia.
Follow it.
Oh, sorry, David, go ahead. They're just entering Monrovia. I know it's a quaint, quiet, small.
Notice a small dent, at least in the bottom, right below the brake light on the left side, on the driver's side of that vehicle. But you see the driver there. You got a brief snippet of it with the window down. But now it looks like in a parking lot right now. This might be toward the end of they might have cornered or boxed them in potentially here. I mean, this is where, you know, you start running into folks or running into other cars, and things get a little dicey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's you know, CHP has their own rules, just like any other department. That's why most police departments, law enforcement officers, what they do is they like to keep their own people involved because they're all playing off the same rule book.